Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Annike's Quest. My name is Anneke. It's been a while. It's really been a while. And I'm really sorry for that. But yeah, life's been hectic, as life sometimes does. And I've done a lot of things. It's just, I haven't got that much to show for it. You know, in general, not even knitting wise, but in general. But there you go. Here we are. And you know, the other thing is that if I don't record today, it won't be done for quite some time. I'll be going to the Netherlands and recording there. You know, we'll see how we get on. I might be able to record, and who knows, I might not be. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So today's episode will be a bit of a mixed bag with all sorts of things. All sorts of topics, and there will be chapters where you can see, you know, this bit I'm interested in and that bit I'm not interested in at all. So just skip the bits you're not interested in, and you know, that's all fine. Again, you know, at the beginning, let's do this at the beginning, otherwise I forget. If you like this, please like, subscribe and share, with subscription being the major thing, because then you can stay updated. You'll get a notification whenever there's a new video out. And when they're so sporadic as they are at this moment in time, that might be a good idea. Anyway, let's start with what's on the mannequin. And I don't know how far this was last time I did a podcast, but this is my first attempt at a round yoke, top down. See what happens if you do. And this is made with tencel. I think it's bamboo, but I'm not really sure. And as you can see, this is a live edge with the needle out. It's going to be a ribbed back. Why? Because it's way, 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 way too wide. This is an enormous garment, and this is not stretched out. This is just pure fabric I'm holding up. And the same goes that way. It's too wide, even with all the decreases I did at the side. But I really like the way it sits around my neck. Anyway, that is 2 skeins, and I had 4 skeins. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do another one. But this time I'm going to cheat, because I really need it done and I don't have time for more trial and error. So I know, it's not right, but I created one bottom up with raglan. Well, you can't really call it sleeves, because they're just, there's hardly anything beyond the joint of words. I'll show you what I mean. There's hardly any sleeve. You can see here, this is the edge where the stitches were picked up, and you know, that's it. So what I did for this one is I kind of took the stitch count from that one as a guidance. Just started knitting bottom up, split the sleeves. Yeah, did the little bit of sleeve, connected them, made a raglan, did short rows and an I-cord bind off. And the I-cord bind off, it took forever. It's not that much, I mean, you know, but it was a very hot day and my hands were sticky, and it just was not a pleasure to knit. I think it would not have been a pleasure to knit with whatever yarn. So I can't blame the yarn in any way, shape or form. It's just one of those things. It wasn't the right day to do it, but it needed to be done. And as you can see, I still have the edges to be woven in. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I've I now need to create the dress to go underneath it, because it's cropped. It's quite cropped. I've never worn, as in ever in my entire life, worn a top this cropped. And I did test it out. If I lift my arms, the fabric still stays over my boobs. Yeah, which for me is important. You know, I don't want to go around half naked, and this needs a dress underneath, or a very high-waisted skirt, but I really wanted to be a dress to be less self-conscious, to be comfortable, let's put it like that. So yeah, ends to weave in. So what can I say? Bottom up. So yeah, bottom. I was thinking how I did the sleeves, because there's a horizontal line here under the arm, where I joined. Oh, I remember what I did. Sorry, I'm not with it. This is 1 week ago. That's how much has happened. This is 1 week ago, and I already forgot. I have already forgotten how I did it, but I remember now. So yeah, simple. You go around for the body, and you go around for the sleeves, and then you have to join them. And the joint, I first did the horizontal line, so that the raglan didn't need to go on forever and a day. Also, it's because my arms are quite wide, it's nice for there to be some horizontal space under the arm, otherwise it pinches on my body. So yeah, when joining the two, I first knit this line together and go on, and then only the second go round do I knit the sleeve and the body together. And then there's short rows. I just took a random amount of stitches. I think it was 8 or something. There might be a bit of video of that, but there's a couple of stitches that are horizontal, and then going knit to the other side of that bit, and then purl back, not quite to the same, and you work your way around the neckline so that the back gets knitted up. Sorry for the noise in the background, it's the washing machine running. But I was binding off, and I thought, oh, let's first show this. So this is my cropped summer top, and it's got very short, very short raglan sleeves, because I didn't want it to be very wide at the top. If I would make proper t-shirt sleeves, it would be very wide, and since it's cropped, I didn't want that look. Yet I did want to knit in around to keep things easy. Anyway, so then I did some short rows. So here's about 8 stitches, I think. Let's count. 9 stitches. So you're going around, and then I started short rows. So I put in the markers. This is the middle, so it must have been an uneven number, this being 9 stitches. And then you go around to this one, and then back to the next marker, which is 5 stitches. There's no real science to it. I could have drawn it out on this bit, but I didn't. Just didn't have the brain space, and I thought I'll wing it. So 9, 5. So what did I say? You go round like that to this one, and then you go back, purl to this one, and then you knit around to that one, and then you purl all the way to this golden one, and so on and so on. So I said this was 9, this was 5. The next one is 4, and then it's 3, and then it's 2. And in itself, I would love to do another to and fro, but this is the yarn I've got left, and I want to do an I-cord bind off, and that would have meant, because I was on that one, so I still needed to go here. I need to go all the way back and back again to the to the back corner, and then start the I-cord bind off, and I don't think that would be enough yarn. So I'm doing the I-cord bind off now. If I'm lucky, it works. If I'm not, I'll be short. As in, I've got another 2 skeins of this. So this is 2 skeins so far. So I definitely have more yarn, but it would be nice if I could just finish it in 2 skeins, because that would mean I could make another one. Right. As I said, I started the I-cord bind off. I'm really curious how that's going to pan out in this yarn. If I do it in wool, it brings it together a bit. And if I had done another round, I would have gotten one round where I would do a couple of decreases here, because at the moment, and maybe it's because of the needles being in it, at the moment it droops a little bit, as in droops like that, and I would like the I-cord to kind of hold it all together, but we'll see. You know, I can always rip it back. Okay, let's get going. And not only the back gets knitted up, but the shoulders go in a bit as well. So yeah, only thing to do is to weave in the ends, and this needs blocking, but I haven't had time to block it, and so I'm going to take this along to the Netherlands where I block this, and I really need to block this because the edges curl up, even though the edge started with a long tail cast on, and I did a knit row, and then I turned around, so I didn't join around, I just turned around, did a knit row back, so I've got a purl bump here, and then only the knit round after that did I close the loop. And with some fabrics that creates a flat surface. With this one it doesn't, it wants to curl up. So be it. I'll block it, and I hope it goes out. If this doesn't go out, because in the bottom, sorry, I'm looking down because that's where the thing is, I should hold it up. So the bottom curls up as well, and I really want the length, and it's about 1.5 centimeters, something like that. I really want that length to go down. If I can't make it to stay, I will either crochet something around, or I'll do an I-cord bind off, which won't be a bind off, but I will be picking up each stitch and create an I-cord at the bottom, just to give it a little bit of weight, and it will only be a little bit of weight because the yarn is quite light, but it might be just enough to make the bottom hem go down and stay put. So that's that. Not much to tell other than when I finish my dress and I take all the fabric to the Netherlands, so hopefully my mom can help me out with, you know, fitting things. If I really like this, I will rip that back and either create exactly the same or do another attempt at the round neck, but just adapt it slightly so that it doesn't get so wide, not quite so wide. So this is a finished object. So I've got 2 whips going, and this is one, and this is my second attempt at a round neck yoke, slightly modified. So what I've done differently with this one is that I started the raglan higher up. So for me, I'm quite busty. And if you do a round neck yoke and you split in the middle of the stitches, because basically it's half a circle. If you split in the middle for sleeves, then it kind of pinches. If you do it close to the armpit, it pinches, especially if you're chesty. So for me, I kind of guessed that already. So I did a bit of raglan here, and it starts there. That's where my raglan starts, just so that I get space to go around the arm and the curve of the bust, and generally have space. And for that one, it's I started it too late, is my current working theory. I started it too late, and I continued making the increases way too far. Anyway, so in this case, I started the raglan here, so I've only got this much before the raglan starts, and I tried to do the same not quite amount, because it's a different stitch count. Oh, why can't I think of the word now? Percentage of, that's not the word I'm looking for, but let's go with that. The same percentage of stitches to the front, to the back, and for the sleeves. I've only just split it. I've only just split for the, honestly, language. So I've only done this much in the body. So I don't know yet how it's going to pan out. I need to get a bit more length. This is made in linen from linen and cotton blend from Woolly Knit. Let's see, Dublin green. Oh no, it's 300 grams linen cotton. Dublin green. And this is the cone. I hold it double, so I I caked it up, and so I'm working from the cake and from the cone, which it doesn't look like there's the same amount on it, but this has got quite a big hole in it now, so yeah, hopefully I did it right. I did put it on a scale, but you know, my scale is not that precise. It is interesting to see that at this moment in time, there's a bit of a slant in it. Let's see if I can show you. So if I hold this up, then you can see that the stitch markers go at an angle. And I'm afraid that this yarn does the same as the wool I got, what is it, 2 months ago now. That there's a bit of a, yeah, slightly over twisted. And this yarn has been in my stash for quite some time now, so no way that I could send it back. Also, because this is a t-shirt, I'm not too bothered about it. It will kind of twist around my body, depending on how it blocks out. But for a t-shirt, you know, it's not what I want, but it's not too big a problem either. It would be a problem if it was going to be a cardigan, because then the the opening of the cardigan would be at the slant. But yeah, it's interesting, and I didn't do a swatch when the yarn arrived, which is I should from now on. Yarn arrives, do swatch and see if it's correct or not. So I haven't complained about it, just because, you know, there was no it had been in my stash for some time, so it's a bit weird to be calling about a product, you know, 6 months after you've bought the yarn. That would be silly. I will continue knitting at this. I don't know how much further I can knit, how much yarn I've got. I did want this to be slightly longer than cropped, but that also depends on how well I'm doing in making garments whilst I'm in the Netherlands. Because it might be that all of a sudden I become a cropped top addict. Who knows? So that's that. And I am knitting a sock, one sock, no promises there's going to be a second one. I haven't knitted socks for ages. I think the last time I knitted socks was when my son was a baby. Bless him. He is 27, something like that. So it's a while ago. And yeah, knitting socks, it's not my thing, but there were other projects that needed my attention, and I just didn't have the bandwidth or brain space to do so. So I thought, just let's start with a sock. And yeah, as you can see, I work on very long double pointed needles. That's what I'm used to working on. This has got a very long flap and gusset. The heel is quite pointy. Let's see. You see, it's pointy. So next time around, I should keep more stitches at the end of the flap. Whatever. And I have a very high instep, which is quite problematic when you want to buy boots or something. So this has got a very long flap, there you go, and gusset. It's quite enormous, but I did try it on and it fits. So even though it looks enormous, that's my foot. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep on trying it on, but yeah, now it's, am I done with the, I don't know if I'm done with the decreases. I'd have to count, I don't know. But yeah, one sock. No idea if there's going to be a sock number 2, but that's the sock. Hello. So, as a palette cleanser, is that the right word for this occasion? I don't know. Anyway, I decided to start knitting a sock. Now, me and knitting socks is not a thing that goes very well together, because, you know, Sock Island is a thing. And it's been ages, and I've never... that's wrong. I wanted to say I've never knitted socks from this thinner yarn. I've done a pair of tiny baby socks from this thickness yarn, but never adult socks. Anyway, so I didn't really know how many stitches to put on. I started with 60 on needle 3mm, but that was just wrong. It was too loose. It wasn't right. So I went down to 2.5mm, and I've got 64 stitches now. For the top of the foot, I want to keep this rib, this 2x2 rib going, which means that I need the purl and then a purl on the other side. So I've got 30 stitches. I've got 30 stitches for the heel flap, and I've done the heel turn, which I find a bit pointy, but if I put my hand in, needles, it will be fine. It will be fine once I've got it on. So I've done the heel turn, and now I need to pick up stitches from the side to do the gusset, and I will do that with needles 2mm, because those sides are tight and fiddly, and if I do it with needle 2.5, it's just not going to be a pleasant experience. So as you can see, I'm using long double-pointed needles. I'm used to knitting with the needles under my arms, which is something you can't do. You can't do with those short sock needles. Yeah, so I can throw the yarn, and it also makes purling easier for me. If I have to do knit purl, then for me it's easier to work on long needles and to throw the yarn. So this is where I'm at, picking up the sides and start with the gusset bit. Yeah, seems to, and shorty socks, really short socks. Yeah, I don't want to be spending an awful lot of time on that bit, whilst I'll still have to figure out how to do the rest of the sock, and whether I've got the right amount of stitches, because I can get this over my foot, over my ankle to put on. I find it quite stretched out, so I'm really curious how it's going to be with the heel. The heel is 34 rows. So 30 stitches by 34 rows. And yeah, it kind of looks okay. So let's go with that. Okay. Oh, and something else. In Great Britain, a lot of the sock needle sets come in sets of 5 needles. So I thought, oh, well, let's try. Maybe it's easier in some shape or form. So I tried to knit that bit on 4 needles. No, that's a no from me. All those needles were flopping everywhere. Maybe also because, I've got long needles. But, you have to change 4 times per row. So no, I did it. I quickly reorganized my stitches and knitted the rest on 3 needles. Of course, now this will be a needle and that will be a needle. So initially this will be 4 needles, but those 2 sides will be 2mm. So when I start knitting, I'll put them on 2.5, and then as soon as possible, I will rearrange them to have 3 needles, because as I said, keeping on changing and changing, that's not what I want. Also, I wanted to do this 2x2 on the top of the foot, but I just realized that maybe I should go for knit all around, just to see if it's the right amount of stitches, because it will be a bit more obvious when I do that than when I keep the 2x2. So yeah, I might start just knit rather than keeping the top of the foot a 2x2. Right, I'll continue with this. See you later. Bye. And that is all I've done knitting wise. It's been quite remarkable. It's I've done lots. So yeah, let's tell about lots. So one of the things is aiming to get Firefighter fit. If you've seen my previous podcast, you may know that I'm applying to be an on-call firefighter in the local for the local fire department. It's only a small place, so they don't have a team of firefighters on permanently at station. This is hello, there's an emergency, come out now. And once you get through selection and through your training, you get a beeper, and you need to be within 5 minutes of the station, the fire station, that is. And yeah, it's been an interesting journey so far. I'm pretty sure I told you about the maths and language test. I don't know if I'd done it the last time I've seen you, but I passed, so that's a relief. And I've done an interview and I passed the interview. So now I have to do the physical test and a fitness test and a medical test. 3 different things at 3 different days. Hopefully they'll be in August somewhere. I did get an invitation to be there at the time I was in the Netherlands, so that's not going to happen because I won't be here. But yeah, I'm training, I'm going to the gym, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see what my body can and can't do at this moment in time, and how it's progressing. That's interesting as well. How I couldn't do some things a couple of weeks ago, which I can do now. So there's definitely progress. Should I look at where I need to go? Of course, you set a goal. You know, this is the test. This is where I want to get to, and this is what I need to pass. But at this moment in time, there's quite a gap between reality and end result. So we'll see. I'll do some things in the Netherlands. Who ever heard about low altitude training? Well, that's what I'm going to do. So normally proper athletes, they do high altitude training, and the aim of, at least one of the aims, is for their body to produce a lot of red blood cells so they can transport oxygen to the rest of your body. Because that's one of the limiting factors, the amount of blood you've got, the red blood cells. And when you're at high altitude, your body automatically starts to create more red blood cells. So that's a lovely theory. However, I'm going to the Netherlands. I'll be at sea level. You can't get much lower than that. I'm not going to dive. And I don't know an awful lot about people who dive. I'm sure people who do this deep sea diving or free diving, where they go along a rope and the aim is to get as deep as possible, they must have got some funky stuff going on with their blood and lungs and all the rest of it. I'm not going to do that. But I will train. Luckily my mum lives along a dike, so that's about 4 meters above sea level. So yeah, I can and her drive goes up there, so, or down, depending on, whether you're coming or going. So I can do some running up and down the driveway. To go from sea level to 4 meters above sea level. Yay! And I can cycle there. That's one of the advantages of the Netherlands. It's easy to get around on a bike. So I can cycle, and I'm sure there are some gyms I could go to. So yeah, I'll continue my training. There's still quite a gap to get there, but hopefully come August I've closed the gap and I confidently go to my selection test and do the selection. So, yep, fingers crossed. So that is that. Something else. One moment. As you may know, I do medieval reenactment. I used to do it with my daughter, but my daughter has her own life at the moment, and she's got stuff going on. But I still want to continue. It's a really nice bunch of people. And I do have a long bow, even though my daughter claims both bows, which is, that's not on. You know, we've got 2 long bows, once for her, once for me. And I wanted the set of arrows to be complete. And one of the members of the group, he is a fletcher. So he makes arrows. And I picked them up this week. So Keith, thank you very much. Can I do that? So it's got a proper point. Let's see, focus. Come on. Right, there you go. So it's got a proper point. This is a metal point of some sort. And it's quite pointy, it's quite sharp, and if it goes at speed, believe me, it makes holes in things. During the reenactment, we've got targets to shoot at. And then if I see if I can do it like that, then this is the other end. And look at how beautiful that is. So these are real feathers. And I don't know exactly how he does it. There must be some sort of holder thing, because there's 3 feathers to make the arrow go. And then there's a piece of wire, and the wire is really beautifully distributed. So this bit is a bunch of wire next to each other, and that bit is a bunch of wire next to each other. And then there's the knock. There you go. So that's the bit you place where you place the arrow on the string. Absolutely beautiful arrows. So there's now one whole set of those arrows, and then there's other ones. Those came with the bows, because the bows are second-hand bows, and yeah, those arrows came with one of the bows. And as you can see, this is a different point. This is not a point. This is a kind of rubber, and they call it a blunt. So when we go and at some sort of castle or demonstration or whatever, and we shoot a knight, so a knight in full armor, the group, we shoot at the knight, and of course you don't want to be shooting the pointy bits, because that would be really, really dangerous. We shoot the ones with the rubber ends, as to not do that much damage. Those arrows, they've got a transfer, so the person who this belonged to was Welsh, and it's beautiful. And then of course the Welsh colours red. So the transfer is a dragon, the Welsh dragon, and then the Welsh colours red and green, and the knock in this case is plastic. Still beautiful, beautiful arrows. So they've been transformed from sharps to ones with a blunt. Now I needed to transport my arrows back home, and Keith very kindly lent to me this quiver, which is just a piece of fabric with a hoop at the top. And I said, oh well, this looks doable. I've got plenty of fabric, I can make my own. And so he gave me this. So what I can do, this does not work with the blunts, but what happens is you make a tube like this, and then you put this at the top of it, so it keeps the whole bag open, and you can put your arrows through those holes and they stay put. There you go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making my own quiver. I do have a very old leather jacket, which I don't wear because there's something in it that doesn't agree with my skin. But I've always imagined taking off one of the sleeves and creating a quiver out of that. That's been a long-standing wish and still hasn't happened. At the moment I don't even know what a jacket is, but I know it's there. I didn't throw it out. So yeah, one of the things that that I want to do. But this is a nice thing, and yeah, definitely going to give it a go. I've got some dark brown sturdy linen, and that might be a good thing to make an arrow bag, a quiver, and another bag to just take around when I'm walking around a show, to be able to carry things without using my hands. So I want to create a bag with a shoulder strap. So there's that. So I've done knitting, I've done firefighting, I've done reenactment, study. For my biomedicine, every 2 modules I need to do a mini exam, and only once you've done the mini exam and passed it can you unlock the next 2 modules. And I think the last time I spoke to you, I had just done 2 modules that had been bugging me, and it made me sleepy, and I couldn't pay attention to the lectures. I don't know what was going on with that, but I passed then, and since I passed another 2 of those mini exams, all of them 100%, and I think all of them within half the time allotted for it. So that's a huge relief. So I've got 2 more to do for a mini exam, and then it's the main exam. The reason why I wanted to go through it is because every time I want to print out the study notes, and yes, I'm going to the Netherlands, and yes, I can use my brothers and sister-in-law's equipment and printer and all the rest of it. But printer ink is really expensive, and this is masses of printed stuff. So I did ask if if they've got spare printer ink and all the rest of it, because what do I know? And if it's there, it's there. If I don't use it, that's absolutely fine. But if I need it, then it's there. But of course, I wanted to print as much as possible here in my own house. So yeah, I've done that, and I've printed just about all the study material I need. So there's that, and then I can slowly start to create a system for me to, I want to say rehearse, that's not rehearse, to learn, revise is the word, to start revising for the main exam. But what I really need to do whilst I'm in the Netherlands is I need to do my assignment, and that needs to be done by the time I'm coming back, really. So there's that, and that's a lot of work. So yeah, every morning I'll be studying at least for 4 solid hours. That's a must on the list, otherwise I don't get it done. And it was interesting because on Thursday morning I had either time to go to the gym or time to do one of the exams before work, and I wasn't too much about it because gym is important because I need to be fit, doing my exam is important as well, because flipping heck, I need the end result of that as well. So I chose to do the exam, and it paid off. I got it, so that was good. But it was interesting to see my own thought process on what am I going to choose. I chose the exam because there's more time to practice in a gym than there is to practice for my exam to get all the prints out. I hope that makes sense, me rambling on. So yeah, there's that. Next, on my way to the Netherlands, I will make a stop in London, visit my daughter, spend the day with her. I don't know if I'll get some footage of that, depending on the weather, because if it's raining, at the moment it's raining here. As you can see, oh, what am I wearing? I'm wearing a t-shirt and a hoodie because it's weird weather. It's really weird weather. It's kind of close and kind of muggy. It's very damp, and then all of a sudden it's cold, and then it's hot again. It's weird. But if it's raining tomorrow in London, then I won't be carrying my camera around, because that would be too dangerous for it to get wet. But if it's a good, beautiful day, I might take some footage. Who knows? It will be lovely. It will be her birthday next week, so it's nice to see her and catch up. So yeah, that's it. That's life, I think. Work and gym and study and knitting. That's the current state of affairs. And it's fine. Oh no, I did something else. I've been to visit, I think, since I last saw you, 2 pieces of land. 2 pieces of land for smallholding. The first one I saw was beautiful. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. It was over 17 acres. I don't think I've told you yet, because I've only been there 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I didn't tell you. Beautiful piece of land. It came to me through word of mouth, so that's the best way for it to come to someone. One moment. Beautiful land. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 17 acres. Only 5 acres of kind of usable land, and the rest was ancient woodland and ponds. There were 2 ponds. Well, there was 1 pond and there was 1 lake. I did ask the gentleman what he used the water for. You know, was it for swimming or was it for fishing or whatever? He said, no, the big pond, I use it for sailing. And inside I was laughing because it was in between, it was in its own little valley, and with ancient woodland. So where the wind came from, I don't know. But when we got to that place, indeed there was a tiny boat. You know, I think if he sat down, you know, with his legs stretched out, he would fill the boat with a little sail. Brilliant. It was it was big lake. I want to say huge. It wasn't huge. You know, I don't know what your concept of huge is, but it was definitely not a pond. It was a lake. It was also very deep because he needed to put down some a post in the water, and it's beyond 21 foot deep. It's quite a distance for something like that. Anyway, so I saw that. We walked around, and so only 5 acres of kind of usable space, the rest ancient woodland, and the usable space had and still has a cherry orchard on it, and the cherry orchard was in various stages of decay. And I asked about it because the rest of the property was, you know, they started to really maintain it. They knew the ways to get grants and all the rest of it. And they'd done a lot to the property. So I was wondering about, you know, the decaying cherry trees. And he said, well, it contains a bug, some sort of insect thing with grubs. And even specialists have never seen them alive. So it's very, very, very rare indeed. which would mean that if I would get that land, you know, I wouldn't take down those trees, because, you know, if that's rare, you don't do that. Well, I wouldn't do that. But it means that the usable space is even less usable, and I found that 5 acres is not not enough. It didn't have the space or the level spaces for me to do what I want to do. I did ask, which was a sign already. I did point at various fields, left, right and centre. Is that for sale? Do you know if that's for sale, or would those people be in? And the answer was no for all the pieces that bordered the land. So that was interesting to see that that at the viewing already, in my heart of hearts, somewhere in my head, I knew it wasn't enough land to use. It did make it clear to me that I really like woodland, and especially for a therapeutic setting, it's nice to have woodland. There's something cozy, there's something safe about it. I can't explain it. There's something really nice about it. Did the property make my heart sing? No, it didn't. And it was beautiful. But it didn't make my heart sing, and maybe that was also because of all the things in the back of my head of, I can't use this. This is not going to be it. I don't know, but that was not going to be it. I don't know if I've got footage of me driving there. I'll have a look in my library. It was northeast of Tunbury Wells. So it's half an hour from here, and I'm half an hour from Hereford already. And that was also a negative in the list of things. When I get that far away from Hereford, I might as well be wherever in Great Britain. Then it doesn't matter anymore. The other day I went to see some land in Norton Cannon, which is 10 miles from here and 10 miles from Hereford. So it's south from here, it's south west from here and northwest of Hereford. It was beautiful. There was no features. It was just land, but the setting of the land itself, the outlook, you could approach it, yet it was quiet. But it were a couple of pieces of land, and they were proper arable land, and the most expensive land over here is arable land. So that wasn't going to be it. It was 45 acres. And when I look at 45 acres, I think, this is starting to get somewhere. So for the projects I've got in mind, when I looked at the land, I thought it could do with even a bit more. I'm looking for 12.5 acres as bare minimum. But when I walk around 45 acres, I think, yep. And if it's double that, that would be nice. If it was 100 acres, that'd be amazing. You can dream, can't you? And sometimes dreams come through, and I think it's time for me to reassess what my real goal is, because I kept on saying 12.5 acres just because that's the threshold for it being a small holding. But what if I actually have a proper farm? That would make so much more sense, to have a mixed farm, so I can actually grow the crops for the animals I've got, and, you know, of course, crops for other people, and to have, you know, to create a food forest and all the rest of it. Yeah, I won't be able to do that at 12.5 acres. 12.5 acres would be a start. 12.5 acres would be me settling down, me starting the process, but then the adjoining land should come up for sale over time, so I can actually start working on my big dream. But yeah, that's was kind of ideal setting, distance wise. Did that piece of land make my heart sing? Well, one piece of land I couldn't walk around because the vegetation was too high and there was a crop on the land, so I couldn't go round it. The other two pieces I walked the length of it, and that was possible and doable and all the rest of it. It didn't make my heart sing, but it was definitely the right place to put my stamp on. And it was one piece, and I could just imagine what it would look like once I had it in my hands for about 3 years. Really, I've grown other gardens, and plants grow a lot in 3 years' time. And if you've got a vision and you know where you want to go, then 3 years is you can see quite a difference in 3 years. And of course, then, from then on, it will only get better. But give it 3 years, and I could transform that space into something quite magical, quite amazing. And I know that I could live there happily for a very, very, very long time because of where it is in relation to other places. And it would be future proof for me for many, many, many years. But it is not to be, because it would go for a lot of money, and it goes by tender. So you don't really, if it's an auction, you can hear the price, you can bid and go like, oh, flip, now it's out of my league. But with tender, you don't really know what the seller is looking for. I have considered writing a letter saying what it is I want to use the land for. But even then, I don't know. Something will happen, something will come up. But that would have been a nice start. That would have been a really nice start. But I didn't put in the tender because I couldn't see it happening. I don't know, I've considered to just write a letter, not putting in the tender, just writing a letter. I don't know where it's going to lead. Something inside me told me not to. Let's put it like that. So I'm not going to do that. Even though at times when my heart says to do something, I will do it. I will do it. Unsolicited mail. Bless the recipients. But this time my heart said not to do it, so I didn't. So there we go. That's the update on land. I think that's really it. That's really it. I need to go and pack. No, I need to record the Dutch version of this. That's what I need to do. And then I need to pack. And empty the fridge. I have to write this down, otherwise I forget. Empty fridge, because that won't be nice to come back to if I forget that. That's it. I will leave you with some footage of travels, of land, of arrows, of all sorts of things. And have a lovely, lovely month of July, and I hope to see you soon. See you. Bye bye.